India-Bangladesh tensions are reaching breaking point after the lynching of a Hindu man by an extremist Islamist mob in Dhaka. Now massive protests have broken out in the Indian state of Tripura over the incident. Protests were also staged outside Bangladesh's Deputy High Commission in Agartala over outrageous and offensive comments by Bangladeshi leaders to divide India's northeastern states. In neighboring Assam state, anger is rising against persecution of Hindu minorities in Bangladesh by radical Islamist extremist mobs in Dhaka. In some places, Bangladeshi flags have been put on roads. But it's not limited to India. Widespread protests have broken out in Nepal against Islamist violence against Hindus, while protesters were seen burning Bangladeshi flags in anger.
India had no interest in destabilizing Bangladesh. A calm and stable Bangladesh is in our interest.
Yunus's appeasement of extremists in Dhaka will end up isolating Bangladesh in the entire Indian subcontinent. Now, the Indian army has taken its biggest step to shield Bharat from the threats emerging from its much smaller neighbor. The Indian army could soon set up a massive garrison in Mizoram close to the Bangladesh border to prevent any influx of extremist elements into India's northeast. This to prevent another Pahalgam-type targeted attack on Hindus by Islamist extremists, this time in the northeast. This will be the fourth Indian Army garrison to be set up along the Bangladesh border in just the last 6 months, and it highlights how the threat from Bangladesh is not limited to media, but Indian security establishment has realized that the threat is real on the ground. With this, Indian Army has now also surrounded Bangladesh from all sides, and this will be Indian Army's biggest garrison near Bangladesh's Chicken's Neck in Chittagong.
Recently, from one student leader saying he's going to separate the 7 states from the rest of India. I mean, who is he to talk?
Yunus must remember the warning by Assam Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sarma. If provoked, the world's 4th largest military, India, can cut off Bangladesh's 2 chickens' necks at a moment's notice. Moreover, India's northeastern states are nearly double the size of Bangladesh. So how can Dhaka's small-time leaders even threaten these highly patriotic Indians? Now posts like "All eyes on Bangladeshi Hindus" are buzzing on social media. This after Indian high commissions were attacked by Islamist mobs in Dhaka and Chittagong, while Bangladeshi police stood by helplessly. Hindu minorities are specially being threatened by Islamist extremists after radical leader Hadi's death and funeral, who are now demanding a Sharia law be implemented in the small South Asian nation. When we searched for India-Pakistan news, we found out that our news report was ranking among the top 5 or 5 best on Google News videos. I am Shobit Mittal. Subscribe to Inconnect News for the most informative news content. Bangladesh today faces a historic moment in its entire existence. Does it want to remain Bangladesh, or a country for Bengalis? Or does it want to become another failed Islamist nation like Syria or Yemen or Pakistan? Meanwhile, the OIC is silent. The 57 countries which make up the Organization of Islamic Cooperation has uttered no word on the violence against minorities inside Bangladesh. But this is the same OIC that has disillusions that it has the right to comment on India's internal affairs like Kashmir. Here are some facts. Despite 57 nations in the OIC, none of them is in the top 15 global list of biggest economies. Despite being 57 nation bloc, only one of them ranks in the top 10 most powerful militaries. On the other hand, the 5 worst humanitarian crises in the world today exist in Sudan, Syria, Gaza or Palestine, Yemen and Afghanistan. All of them are Islamist nations and all of them are OIC member nations. So it is for Bangladeshis to decide their fate in the next elections, whether they want to choose progress and a better life for their citizens, or they want to slide down the path of religious extremism and with it, back to the Stone Age. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs has strongly condemned incidences of lynching and violence inside Bangladesh, especially after a Hindu man identified as Dipu Chandra Das was beaten to death by a mob and his body set on fire over false allegations of blasphemy. Now, Bangladesh's Hindu community has decided to support Dipu Chandra Das's family, including his wife and child. Many Bangladeshi media outlets have also been peddling false propaganda, stating that Indian nationals have threatened Bangladeshi diplomats here in New Delhi.
In Bangladesh, we categorically reject these false and baseless.
However, this has been outrightly slammed by the Ministry of External Affairs as misleading propaganda, calling such reports baseless and designed to divert attention from the real issue at hand, being the deteriorating law and order situation inside Bangladesh. NEA spokesperson stated on demonstrations outside the Bangladesh High Commission in India, quote, "There was no attempt to breach the fence or create a security situation at any time. Visual evidence of these events is available publicly for all to see." There have been increasing instances of religious extremism and attacks on Hindu minorities inside Bangladesh, to which the Indian Foreign Ministry NEA expressed deep concern. NEA also stated that they are monitoring the situation in Bangladesh very closely. So what's the core reason behind the India-Bangladesh unrest? The lynching of Dipu Chandra Das in Mymensingh sparked widespread outrage and protests in India as well as Nepal. According to Bangladeshi police reports as well as CCTV visuals, which we cannot show you due to the violent nature of the attack, it can be seen that Das was attacked and beaten up by a mob outside his factory, then hanged from a tree. His body was later set on fire by the extremists. Under pressure from India, the unelected interim leader of Bangladesh, Yunus, quickly announced action against the culprits. So 10 have been detained, and what's shocking is that some of them were Das's co-workers who joined in the violence. You really never know who among those is a closet extremist. In another shocker, Bangladeshi investigators claim that they found no evidence of blasphemy in their initial probe. So the mob turned violent only on a rumor. This shows how dangerous religious extremism can be, which can blind people from logic and common sense. Violence also escalated in Bangladesh after the death and funeral of anti-India Islamist leader Osman Ali during the campaign of the upcoming elections in the country. Protesters in Bangladesh attacked Indian High Commission in Chittagong, held anti-India demonstrations in Dhaka, vandalized newspaper offices based on rumors that Hadi's attackers had fled into India. However, officials in Bangladesh themselves admit there is no evidence to back claims that Hadi's attackers had crossed or entered India. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has blamed Yunus for the country's decline towards extremism and radicalization. Hasina stated, "The strain you are witnessing is entirely of Yunus's making. His government issues hostile statements against India, fails to protect religious minorities, and allows extremists to dictate foreign policy, then expresses surprise when tensions rise. India has been Bangladesh's most steadfast friend and partner for decades. The ties between our nations are deep and fundamental. They will outlast any temporary government. I am confident that once legitimate governance is restored, Bangladesh will return to sensible partnership we cultivated over 15 years." Meanwhile, an Indian BSF constable, Ved Prakash from BSF's 174th Battalion stationed at Arjun Camp, was detained by border guard Bangladesh on Sunday morning after he unintentionally crossed into Bangladeshi territory in the Patgram area of Lalmonirhat district, which shares border with West Bengal's Cooch Behar district. Now, the BSF Jawan was responding to suspected cattle smuggling reports with a team at around 4:45 a.m. in the morning, so it was pretty dark. He was later returned after a meeting between the two border forces. The following anti-India demonstrations and violence in Bangladesh, widespread protests have now erupted in Agartala, which is the capital of India's Tripura state bordering Bangladesh. Citizens held multiple demonstrations demanding strict action. Bangladeshi threats to annex India's northeastern territory has also prompted the army to hold urgent security review along the entire 856-kilometer border. Chief Minister of Tripura, Professor Manik Sahab, expressed concern and added, "An unimaginable situation has been created since former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina left Bangladesh. The jails have been opened, releasing extremists, thieves and dacoits. The current situation is an international matter and reports have been sent from Tripura to the central government. India is prepared to deal with any situation. We have all kinds of strong security arrangements from India's side. Whatever needs to be done, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will do, unquote. Additionally, there is also news reports coming in on Bangladeshi leaders threatening to eliminate any non-believers. A Bangladeshi Islamist leader was seen saying, quote, "We are commanded by God or Allah to terrorize the non-believers," unquote. There have been incidents of attacks on temples, businesses and homes of Hindu minorities as Yunus loses complete grip on law and order. From rickshaw pullers to devotees at temples, none are being spared. Another video emerged of Christian woman being heckled by a mob. Extremism and intolerance in Bangladesh has reached to such heights that radical Islamists have reportedly cut down an 800-year-old banyan tree only because Hindus are known to worship this tree and nature. This triggered massive criticism on social media platforms against such blind hatred attributed to faith. The Indian Army is now setting up a new base near the Mizoram-Bangladesh border by deploying a full army battalion including bunkers, ring guns, blast-proof shelters and underground armories. The base is expected to be the first line of defense against both state and non-state threats emerging from Bangladesh and also to protect the strategic and vulnerable Siliguri corridor or the chicken's neck of India. This comes after India has already deployed its army and established 3 new garrisons in the Siliguri corridor in West Bengal, Bihar and Assam. The 4th one will now be set up in Mizoram, completely encircling Bangladesh. Why Bangladesh is sliding towards Stone Age? Countries like Saudi Arabia are embracing reforms and modernity. Visuals of women enjoying a concert in Saudi recently went viral. Watching this, Yunus and Munir must be losing their sleep. Meanwhile, Indian screenwriter and lyricist Javed Akhtar has slammed religious extremism and claimed that there must be a balanced view between blind faith and reality.
प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, कुछ तो ख्याल करते हैं.
Now, Javed Akhtar gave the example of Gaza while countering an Islamist preacher in a debate, saying, quote, "You say that God or Allah is omnipotent and omnipresent, then why so many innocent kids and children died in Gaza? He kept quiet and you still want me to believe in him. Our Prime Minister is better than him, at least Prime Minister Modi takes care of us," unquote. Remember, Assam Munir had earlier threatened to attack India, but this time from the east. And the rise of extremism in Bangladesh could be an ISI playbook to destabilize India's 7 sister states, just like Kashmir. Now the ball is in Bangladesh's court. They should stop fantasizing about India's northeast and take care about their own future. But what do you believe? Will Bangladesh become another failed state like Syria or Pakistan? Or will India have to snap Bangladesh's chicken's neck to protect its minorities? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.